Step 3.1, wake up early. Now, either choose to wake up early or to stay up late. But I think that you should have either one of these extreme, like this pocket of window, very early in the day or very late at night, where no one can contact you. And that's when you can work on something which is really, really important. This is building up to the most important productivity tactic that I could be telling you about. You must have a few hours of the day where no one will contact you, where no one's awake, where it's just kind of you with some silent enthusiasm working on something that's super hard and the hardest task possible. And it 100%, trust me, that I highly doubt that you could do this in the middle of the day, and you need to wake up early, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., or you stay up late, midnight, 1 a.m., something like that. You can choose which one it is. Some people are way more night owls and they do really good work there. Some people are way better in the morning time. I'm way better in the morning. What I will say is I do genuinely think the morning is better for pretty much everyone, because when you stay up late, you do automatically experience problems. There's more people who are still awake at 11 o'clock, even midnight. You can't drink coffee or caffeine or anything. If you see any bright lights or any lights from your computer past about 10 p.m., it really does start to fuck up your mental health. Like Andrew Huberman talks about this a lot, that if you look into the computer or phone past 10 p.m. or 11 p.m., it starts to produce depressive symptoms inside of you because it's totally unnatural to see light at that time. When you wake up early at 5 and you see light, it's absolutely fine. It's actually kind of healthy. So I heavily prefer morning time. But if, for example, I was someone who genuinely could not wake up early, but I feel fantastic at 11 or midnight or 1 a.m., I would still do that. I would be pushing that and literally be up at a time where everyone else is asleep, where you don't reply to any messages, so that you can do the hardest task possible. I do my absolute best work as early as possible in the day. So right now I wake up at 5 and my deep work task is between 5 and 8 a.m. So in cases you want to copy me or you want to take any of my ideas, here's my current exact routine. At 8 p.m. I shut everything down, non-negotiable. I don't care if I'm on a call, if I'm doing anything. At 8 p.m. everything is shut down. That's when I'll go and do my nighttime routine, and I'll brush my teeth, I'll floss my teeth and stuff, set up my room and everything, set up tomorrow for work and everything. Then I'll get into bed and I just read sideways, lying down. The whole room is dark, but I have a Kindle which is on the lowest brightness. And when you read literally to the point that your eyes close, you have perfect sleep. I usually fall asleep at about 8:30 p.m., maybe sometimes about 9 p.m. And I wake up usually 5 a.m., on the dot, just by myself. Wake up, first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I'm just quickly going to the toilet, drinking some water, go downstairs, and I'll look at bright light, I'll look at the sunlight. Right now, this sun, which is out at 5 a.m., so I'm getting that into my eyes. Andrew Huberman says it's good. Then at about 5:15, I come up and I literally just do deep work till 8 a.m. So I'm working on the full guides for the script and everything. It's a very mentally demanding, super hard task. No one can disturb me. No one's awake. I'm not checking messages. No one's awake in my house, so I'm just working on that. This is how you move the needle. So there's a phrase that I want to tell you which means a lot to me. It's called eat the frog. The idea is, I think some philosopher or something made this, but the idea is that if you eat the frog first, the hardest thing, if you do the most gross thing, the hardest thing first, then the rest of your day is going to be easier and better. Most people do the opposite thing. They've got something hard that they really don't have motivation for, and they'll keep pushing it on, pushing it later, till eventually it's their entire day has just been kind of stressed out by that thing that they're pushing later. And sometimes they don't even get it done. So you wake up and you do the hardest thing straight away whilst your brain's really fresh, and then you've got an easier day after that. So when I wake up, I focus entirely on these full guides because that's my main thing. That's the hardest thing I could possibly be doing. And I'll just be scripting the video. I'll be researching it. I'll be editing my script and everything. And then I record the full guide as well. This is the real me time. This is when I wake up, no one can bother me, and I can focus on dedicating myself to my craft. And I really think that I'm moving things along. And so you can copy this. So the first thing you've got to do is figure out, are you going to be a morning person or a nighttime person? I really think you need to be one. And I think the more extreme that you can push the time, the better. If you can wake up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. and then start to adjust, the rest of your life to it, the sleep schedule and everything to it, fantastic. If you can stay up 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. and you can really, really get good work done and you're not coping and you don't get distracted and no one's messaging you and you can stay awake at that time, then do that. You should have one of these pockets. The next thing is, and this is the actionable step, figure out what your eat the frog task is. What is the single greatest, hardest, highest leverage task for your work or your studies? For a YouTuber, for example, it's not, changing the channel banner. It's not like commenting on videos. It's simply just like recording the video and maybe scripting the video. That's like the hardest, highest leverage thing out there for a YouTuber. So this is what I do in that first pocket of the day. If you're a nighttime person, then you do this right at the end. Or for example, let's say you are an author. You could be messaging people, you could be writing emails, you could, be sending shout outs to people or something. But the hardest task, the eat the frog of an author, what do you think it is? Literally just writing words down on a page. That's the hardest task. So if you're an author, you'd wake up and you'd do that as fast as possible, or you'd stay up late and you'd do that. You get the drift. The point is that there's a certain task for your work and for your studies that is super high leverage, but it's really hard. And that's the thing that you should be doing in these like pockets of time. If you're a student, for example, you might think that, oh yeah, mine is studying, for example. Needs to be way more specific. It can't just be studying, because then it's like, you'll just cope, right? Because you won't have a plan. It needs to be a specific task, as specific as, for example, practicing the exam questions. So you've got an upcoming exam, you've got like a list of all the questions that they've had over the last 5 years. At 5 a.m. you wake up and you practice the exam questions for 90 minutes. That is a good deep work task right there. Alex Hormozi is a entrepreneur, like a YouTuber who's got a bunch of subscribers. And he spoke about how he ended up getting really, really good grades in college. He literally just practiced the exam questions over and over and over again, so that when it came to the exam, he had already practiced the questions that had come up anyway. So he just breezed through them. That's a very high leverage task. A lot of students cope and they say like, their task is just going to be studying. They end up sitting there, they're distracted, they don't know what they're doing. They'll read a bit of the book, but it's boring. It's not even high leverage. It's very important you have a specific task that you'll focus on. I will tell you that I've been on self-improvement full time for the past 3 years. I haven't had a job other than YouTube. And so I've literally had the beautiful opportunity to like be full time on my self-improvements. And I will tell you that this is a 10 out of 10 productivity tactic. Wake up early, stay up late, whichever one, and work on that hardest task. Eat the frog. That's what I have in this habit tracker behind me. I have 5 a.m., sunlight, eat the frog. That's the 3 things I do first. And then I've got like the rest of my morning routine as well. This will be hard. When you sit down to try and do one of these tasks, it's always like quite brutally hard. It's like you're trudging through deep snow. It's hard. There's always a bit of a struggle. You don't really want to do it. But as you get about 20 minutes or 30 minutes into one of these hard, like frog tasks, that's when you start to feel a lot better. Like I am right now. When I was having a shower before this, I was literally thinking like, coping, do I want to record this? I can't be bothered. What if I do it after the gym? What if I do it, all these thoughts. The first like 10 minutes or so of recording this video, I was feeling a little bit like, I don't know, groggy, not really feeling it. Now it's fine. You've just got to fight the struggle that will inevitably arise with a task like this hard. And this is really, I'm going to be honest, this is where the success is built. Because you see how hard, you can imagine how hard this is. I'm telling you to either wake up early or to stay up late, which means that you've got to kind of dedicate your life around this. And then I'm telling you to work on the super hardest task possible, the highest leverage task. Everyone else is doing the exact opposite. Everyone else is spending their time doing like the pointless tasks, which aren't so important, and the hard, really important task, they're pushing that off till like, till the later of the day, till they're tired and it's less of a priority and they're doing other things first. They're going to the gym first. This is how you get ahead of everyone else. You prioritize that big task and you try and do it first thing in the day when no one can message you. And do all this with the vibe of enthusiasm and enjoyment, because you're building your dream life. And you're not just building your dream life. This is the dream life. When you imagined your dream life and you thought of, the life that you wanted to live, oftentimes we've been influenced and brainwashed by media, by school, by, like people that we know and influencers, and even like the red pill, like based guys have influenced us to think that we need this Bugatti or this apartment or, like be a high value man and stuff. When you take all that bullshit aside, when you really think about your dream life, in some way, you probably did think about the fact that you'd be working hard on some kind of project that meant a lot to you. Because if you think that, you know, the dream life is you just kind of retiring and having enough money, I have to say you're quite immature and foolish. Not in a insulting way, it's just because you haven't experienced life. Anyone who's experienced life, especially as a man, knows if once you make a fuck ton of money and you can pretty much retire, you don't, because it's boring as fuck. You need some kind of purpose, fulfillment, right? So it's like this already was going to be the dream life for us, and we can have it today. We can have something that we can work hard on that contributes to humanity, that also gets us to the point that we can start to provide for our families. A year or so ago, I remember being on Instagram, and there was an Instagram reel of like a basketball player who was like, you know, saying this like motivational quote, and he said, "Those days where you wake up early and you work hard, those days when you stay up late and you work hard, those are actually the dream." Which is super, like, I remember watching that and thinking that's actually so true. Like, the dream is not the subscribers, it's not the car, it's not the number in your bank account. It's just working on something that actually means a lot to you.